6-card PLO isn't just beatable, it's a format every online poker player should seriously consider, as it might be the same kind of golden opportunity poker once was during COVID or the pre-solver era. Today, we'll discover why 6-card PLO players are consistently achieving higher win rates, how much you can realistically make, and how long it's taken some of our players to go in from a few $1,000s per month to, let's say, 10K per month and to even 35K per month, as in the case of this student. But first, let's start with why some players are leaving popular formats like No Limit Hold'em and PLO to start almost from scratch in this niche format, and why some of you should seriously consider doing the same. The answer is rather simple. Fun players are attracted to 6-card PLO like a moth to a flame. They love the gambling aspect. More cards definitely equals more fun. Instead of sitting at the table full of GTO nerds that have memorized all these solutions and where the fish get demolished 90% of sessions, they prefer a high variance format where they at least feel like they have a shot at running it up. Little do they know that while it might seem like 6-card PLO is more forgiving and the edges should be smaller, the opposite is true. Take a look at the results of my students on public sites. Despite higher rake, we are winning roughly 3 times more than in No Limit Hold'em. If we do a quick math, with the right volume, including few extra BB from the rake back, you can make around 10K per month or 120K per year just playing 1-2. That's pretty wild considering it's almost 2026 and basically anyone can reach these stakes. For example, this student. He applied as a marginal PLO winner, struggling to make a couple thousands per month. And after switching to 6-card PLO, working with us for 5 months, he booked his first 12K a month in life. And over the last several months, he's been averaging around 9K a month, even while running poorly in his 2-5 shot. That's a 3.5x increase in his income within just a few months. Native PLO players usually need only a couple months to fully transition to 6-card. If you are grinding hard but can't seem to get past a few thousand per month, I suggest you give a chance to 6-card PLO. You can apply for the mentorship program where in exchange for a percentage of your profits, we help you reach 10 to 20K or even more per month. You can check out the link in the description. Another group that transitions quickly is short players, since the format is another one where equities run close. As for no-limit students, they usually need a bit more time, but you can expect good results after around 6 months of consistent work. So how is it possible that people are making money in this format? I thought equities run close, right? Well, that's true, but only if players go all in pre-flop and every hand. Your all-in equity might be close, but luckily for us, poker doesn't end there. There is post-flop. Let me show you what I mean. We c-bet small on this flop, then we pot size bet double barrel with our hand against a recreational player. We don't really have showdown value, but we have still a lot of equity, so I'm trying to fold out a better hand. And on this paired river, improving the middle boat, I'm just checking back. I think there's just a little value in betting, and out of position players still have a lot of queens and tens on higher boats. And he shows 10, 9, 9, 7, 6, 4. Let's examine his preflop decision. He only needs 33% against a preflop pot size bet open race. And as we can see, he has it against the button. Equities run close, so his all-in equity is definitely enough. But does that necessarily mean he can also realize this equity? And let me explain what I mean. He's going to hit a lot of weak draws and a lot of medium strong hands, which are a nightmare to play against a multi-street aggression. He might be completely dominated by both higher made hands, but also higher draws that are so abundant in the game. On top of this, positional disadvantage greatly decreases equity realization. He is constantly forced to act first and giving up precious informations, which helps the imposition player leverage his range the same way as I did in the hand. In reality, he's likely not able to realize even half of his pre-flop all-in equity. So if his true equity is actually around 20%, he's making an enormous blunder already pre-flop, and then there is also post-flop, and the mistake compounds. The opposite scenario is this hand, where we called 4-bet weak aces. By 4-betting, we are effectively going all in as our opponents are short, and this allows us to realize our equity in the best way, as our hand is not very playable. Calling would be a mistake. So this just means that we are realizing our all-in equity. So this is a spot where equities will run close even against a bunch of random hands. Understanding equity realization and equity denial is where the real edge lies. While this concept might sound simple, 6-card PLO is anything but. Even pre-flop, there is roughly 20 million starting combinations, and most players will only ever be dealt a fraction of them. Like in 4-card PLO, it's pretty obvious double suited hands are strong as they're so rare. But what happens in a game where 80% of hands are double suited? That's exactly why you currently see so many different preflop strategies. You can see just how much edge there is to be gained. That said, there is one crucial mistake almost everyone makes that really holds them back from cracking the game. It's approaching 6-card the same way they approach 4-card or no limit hold'em. In the traditional formats, when you play against a weaker opponent, you simply wait for a good hand and try to stack him off pre-flop. But we already established that all inequities run close. So if you're forcing things pre-flop, you're actually burning valuable post-flop EV. The right way to punish weak players in 6-card is to take them post-flop, where you can dominate their non-nutted hands with an abundance of nutted combinations. And regs aren't immune either. Before all the training sites and solvers, players had to figure everything out on their own. They had to build their own strategy, and this skill has been lost. Frankly, I would have been just as incapable of thinking without a solver if I hadn't been forced to figure it out a new game in 2020 myself. It was 5-card PLO. I had to understand the game on a deep level and create my own strategies, since there were no materials back then. This experience gave me a massive edge when transitioning to 6-card. And if someone tries to build a conventional solver, it is highly debatable whether it's even possible at the moment, as even in 5-card PLO we were running into computing power issues with just 2.6 million starting combinations, and most of the preflop sims that you currently see are run on a low accuracy. Let's go back to the regulars and let me show you how simple it is to get an edge against the average player. The ones who decide to double in 6-card, they aren't fully committed. They play multiple formats at the same time, and when they study, they allocate maybe like 30% of their time on 6-card, and that's a big mistake. With almost no education content available, it's just so much easier to get ahead of anyone and outwork their half-assed commitment. And this is completely different from the traditional formats, which have an abundance of cheap training material and players who spend years memorizing solver outputs. Competing there is extremely hard, and you're simply too far behind to catch up. So we already talked about how to make 100k per year, but what about making life-changing money? This student, for example, went from making a couple thousand per month in 2024 to a ridiculous 35k in the month of September. And of course, behind the results like this, there's countless hours of hard work, and it definitely relies a lot on proper game selection. but he's by no means a lone case. It's important to say today's environment requires a different skill set and the ability to navigate the modern poker landscape. While sites like GG Poker or PokerStars offer clean and reliable action, the fields are much tougher than, let's say, an offbeat site. That being said, I would not venture out of these two unless you really know what you're doing. Otherwise, the chance of getting cheated on is quite high. Collusion is a serious problem, and that's why I always hesitate to bring these things up. Recently, one of the ways sites have been fighting collusion is by introducing the no turn no show feature, which is at least partially reducing the efficiency of collusion. That doesn't mean it's not happening. Unregulated sites often have tables with VPIP requirements that make it nearly impossible to detect collusion without really seeing their whole cards. My advice, stick with regulated sites and earn a good living with peace of mind. The good news for the longevity of the format is that online poker isn't producing new regulars like before. It's much harder to make poker a career. And every year, a fewer people start from scratch and actually make it. This means the public mid-stakes game will likely remain soft for the foreseeable future. Recently, GG introduced 6 card and the games are bustling with action, and it's only a matter of time before coin poker launches too. 6 card isn't going anywhere. You'd better get ahead while the game is still in its early stages. And for that, watch this next video and fix tons of mistakes you're probably not even aware of, the ones that are costing you tons of money.